Hello everyone, my name is Pauline Angeli Baloyo and today I will be presenting my teaching demo for the class Integration of Faith and Values in Learning. The topic that I will discuss today is about subject-verb agreement and it is for the grade 9 English class. We will start at the point wherein we're already finished with the devotional, the opening prayer, and the checking of attendance. And the lesson proper starts now. Good day, everyone. Do you see this passage that is projected to you right now? Can somebody read it for me? Okay, thank you. It says, "The lights of the yacht were blotted entirely by the night." Now, I would like a representative to tell me where the subject of the sentence is. Okay, thank you. What about the verb? All right, now you have seen the subject and the verb. What is the prepositional phrase that comes in between them? Very good. As you can see here, our subject is lights and our verb is were. Our topic for today is about subject-verb agreement, in which we try to check if the subject agrees with the verb. Now in here, lights is in plural form. So of course, in order to have the verb agree with the subject, we should also use the plural form of the verb. That's why the author used were. In this sentence, we have the prepositional phrase that comes in between the subject and the verb. The prepositional phrase is of the yacht. Sometimes people would think that the noun before the verb is the subject, and that is not the case in every subject. The number one rule for subject and verb agreement is to just find the subject and the verb and make sure they are in agreement with each other. Intervening expressions, prepositional phrases in between do not matter in this case. Now let's look more into the rules of subject-verb agreement, especially with intervening prepositional phrases. The first thing to note is that a verb must agree with its subject in number and person. Number can be singular or plural. Singular words indicate one, and plural words indicate more than one. A singular subject takes a singular verb, and a plural subject takes a plural verb. With most verbs, the only change in form to indicate agreement in person occurs in the present tense. An s or es is added to the base form of the verb when its subject is third person singular. Let's take these examples. For the singular, we have she speaks, he exercises, she pitches. And for the plural, they speak, they exercise, they pitch. The linking verb be changes in both the present and the past tense. In singular, we have these examples: he is there, it was sweet. And for plural, they are there, they were sweet. Once again, I've mentioned that having prepositional phrases in between the subject and the verb can be very confusing. So we must remember to not mistake a word in a prepositional phrase for the subject of a sentence. The simple subject is never within a prepositional phrase. Make sure the verb agrees with the actual subject and not with the object of a preposition. For example, let's look at this sentence. The taste of the cherries surprises us. Our subject is taste, which is singular, and of the cherries is a prepositional phrase. So usually, to make it easier, we should ignore the prepositional phrases in between. And since the subject taste is singular, therefore the verb surprises is also singular. Errors in subject-verb agreement occur when a writer makes the verb agree with an object of a prepositional phrase that modifies the simple subject. To help eliminate this kind of error, I usually tend to delete the prepositional phrase so that the actual subject is placed next to the verb. Do you have any questions so far? Let's try an activity. For this activity, you're going to group yourselves in pairs. And you need to make 3 sentences with intervening prepositional phrases and linking verbs on a piece of paper. The verb in the sentence should be placed inside a parenthesis and should be in singular and plural form. Remember, you're going to write 3 sentences. Don't answer them yet. So here is an example of what your sentence might look like. The high school students in the classroom is, are ready to start the English activity. So you need to make two options for your verb. Okay, is it clear? All right, you may start writing your sentences. I'll give you 5 to 8 minutes for that. Okay, time's up. Are you guys done? Now, for this next activity, you're going to exchange your paper with another pair. Okay, now once you have your classmates' sentences, you need to underline the subject and the verb for each sentence and choose the correct form of the verb. Once you're done answering, I would like to ask a representative from each pair to read the sentences and explain your answers. Thank you for participating. I hope you had a grand time making sentences and checking your classmates' work. For our next activity, here are some Bible texts that need verbs. So you have to choose the correct verb for each of these texts. May I ask somebody to read the first sentence for me? Okay, thank you. Now, what is the answer to this text? We need two verbs to complete this. All right, very good. So the answer to the first text is, the wealth of the rich is their fortified city. Could you explain why it's singular? Okay, very good. Since the subject of this sentence is wealth, and it's singular, we also answered with a singular verb, which is. Now let's go to the other clause. But poverty blank the ruin of the poor. Can somebody answer this? All right. Okay, very good. The answer is the verb is, but poverty is the ruin of the poor. Correct. Now let's go for the second sentence. Can somebody read it for me? Okay, very good. At this point, we will pretend that the students already answered this work. Can somebody please read what is projected on your screen? Thank you. So 1 Corinthians 1:10-11 says, I appeal to you, brothers, by the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, that all of you agree and that there be no divisions among you, but that you be reunited in the same mind and the same judgment. For it has been reported to me by Chloe's people that there is quarreling among you, my brothers. Now, why do you think I came up with this text for you today? What is our lesson? Yes, it is subject-verb agreement. Now, why do you think this topic is important? Subject-verb agreement. Why do you think it's important? Can somebody answer? All right, it's a very interesting idea. That's correct. Subject-verb agreement is important. When subject and verbs agree, it shows a correct form of sentence. They are in agreement with each other, and the sentence looks organized, and it is clear and understandable. Our Bible text here reminds us that if we are in agreement with God, there will be no divisions among us. We will be united in the same mind and the same judgment. That's why it is very important for us to be in agreement with each other. Even though there are times that we may quarrel or we may have an argument with our classmate, sometimes we say, oh, let's agree to disagree, right? So it's not always good to pick a fight with someone just because you guys don't have the same ideas and opinions. It is still good to agree with each other. And of course, as Christians, we need to agree with our Lord Jesus Christ. At this point, we will start the second session, and I will be introducing a new topic. Good day, everyone. Today, I'm going to discuss about the agreement with linking verbs. We have reviewed about what we've studied yesterday, so let's proceed to the rules that we need to learn in this lesson. With agreement with linking verbs, do not be confused by a predicate nominative that is different in number from the subject. Only the subject affects the number of the linking verb. In this example, we have this sentence, the lightest crate is 2 tons. Now you may be confused because we have a number after the linking verb and it's 2 tons. When we have a number more than one, we usually think that it's plural, right? But then again, our number one rule for subject-verb agreement is to always focus on the subject and the verb. And the subject of this sentence is crate. Since it is singular, we use the verb is. The singular verb is agrees with the singular subject crate, not with the predicate nominative tons. Another example, recent studies on the behavior of wild animals are his topic for the day. So the topic might be confusing, but again, we will focus on the subject, which is studies, and this word is in plural form, hence we use the verb are. At this point, I'd have given some exercises for the students to do, like oral recitations, and have given a lot of examples. Now we will proceed to our next activity. Okay, class, for our next activity, you will be grouped into 5. So there will be 5 members in each group, and you will make an infographic of a summary of subject-verb agreement rules with intervening prepositional phrases and linking verbs. So examples must be included. Now we have already used some softwares before or some websites, and we've learned how to make infographics in our computer class. So I would like you to choose a website that you will be using for this activity. We've learned about Canva, Venngage, or Snappa to create infographics. Now I would like you to meet up and discuss what needs to be included in that infographic, and of course, create sentences that will serve as examples. Don't forget, while you're making this activity, you can raise your hand and ask questions, and I will be right over to assist you. At this point, we'll proceed to the third session, and once again, I will be introducing a new topic. Good day, everyone. We will have another topic, and it is indefinite pronouns as subjects. Now, we have already reviewed our new lessons for the week. We have subject-verb agreement with prepositional phrases in between. We have subject-verb agreement with linking verbs. And now we have indefinite pronouns as subjects. So the rules here is that a verb must agree in number with an indefinite pronoun subject. Indefinite pronouns can be divided into 3 groups as shown in this chart. We have the pronouns that are always singular. Now we just need to memorize these, and once you've memorized them, it will be easy to answer. We have indefinite pronouns that are always plural, and then there are indefinite pronouns that can be singular or it can be plural depending on the usage. Plural indefinite pronouns take plural verbs, and singular indefinite pronouns, of course, take singular verbs. Can somebody read the examples for me? Okay, thank you, very good. Now the use of singular pronouns and plural pronouns are very easy, but the confusing topic is the indefinite pronouns used in both ways. So a pronoun from the group labeled singular or plural can either be singular or plural depending upon the noun to which it refers. So this is very important. In our example here, we have for the singular, some of the dessert is left. Now, the word dessert is in singular form, right? We don't have an S after it, so we can say that the verb used will also be singular. Now, of course, you might say, but teacher, of the dessert is a prepositional phrase, and you said that we should ignore it. Okay, yes, that is the case, but only with specific subjects. In here, we have an indefinite pronoun. Some can be used in a singular or plural form, and the way to determine what form it is to look at the object of the preposition or the noun to which it refers. And dessert is singular, so we use singular verb. Now for the plural, some of the commuters were caught in the rainstorm. Once again, we use the same indefinite pronoun, but we're talking about another thing. And this time, we're talking about commuters, and commuters is a plural noun. So we use the plural verb. At this point, I'd already have asked the students if they had any questions and clarifications, and I gave more examples to those that did not understand the lesson quite yet. And once I had all their attention, once they've understood everything, I will proceed to the next activity. For your seat work, you will be writing some sentences. For each indefinite pronoun listed below, you need to write 2 sentences using the pronoun as the subject of both sentences. In the first sentence of each pair, use a singular present tense verb. In the second sentence, use a plural present tense verb. For example, we have the indefinite pronoun some. I will use it once with a singular present tense verb, and the other sentence will be with a plural present tense verb. So the singular example is, some of the work is not finished. And the plural example would be, some of the books are on the shelf. So you will write 2 sentences for each indefinite pronouns. So we have none, any, most, all, and some. I will be giving you 10 to 15 minutes to finish this work. Now for this group activity, it will take you a few days to accomplish this. But basically, what you will do is you will gather information about great deeds or acts of kindness being done in your community. Edit the sentences so that the verbs all agree to their subjects. So you will be using the same group that we had before, where there are 5 members. And after that, you will film your news report and upload it to YouTube and share to other social media platforms. So this will be news report video. So everything that you've gathered, you're going to report them, and make sure your sentences are applying subject-verb agreement. Further information, the details of this project, and the rubrics will be sent in your Google Classroom. Now that you've learned about subject-verb agreement, I would like to ask you how you view the 10 Commandments of God's promises parallel to following the rules and patterns of the English language. Can somebody comment on that? Okay, thank you very much. Now, what have you realized and what are your reflections upon learning subject-verb agreement? Thank you for your answers. It's really nice to discuss these things and to realize that even learning these topics, we get a little insight on what the Bible tells us and how we can apply these values in our lives. Now, let's ponder on this statement. Every field has a language of its own. As you begin a new career path, learning the lingo will help you become part of the new community. Subjects and verbs will follow the same rules and patterns you have learned in this lesson. I hope you have learned a lot with this topic, and I hope you've enjoyed the activities that we have done, and I'm looking forward to your news reports, and hopefully we could present them in our Sabbath school this Sabbath or the next Sabbath. Thank you, and I'll see you in our next lesson.